to our meeting. I'd like to first of all introduce and welcome Jill Jr., our county supervisor tonight, come out on a cold night like tonight, and the new city manager, Mike Schrock, city manager. And we've got, you know, some pretty important business. It's always for us here at Alleman. And with that, I would like to let Jill. Would you like to talk to us, or do you have anything you want to talk to us about, or anything like that, or you just?
Well, I mean, I have to go and do council updates. Is that what you're looking for?
Yeah.
Sure. I have a list. So, and then, there are 2 new council people. Is that correct?
I'm new on this year,
You're
but
new
I've
this
been on
year,
it for 24 years prior.
but you haven't been on council.
I've been on council since.
You have, okay. I thought you had 2.
Mr. Smith was re-elected, and then Jenny is brand new.
You have quite a large slate for your council.
Council 25?
24, 6. I was on 2 years, I showed up a couple times and a guy bowed out, moved away, and they said, well, you warmed up the seat, so I started in on that.
Okay.
Easter Bunny, Santa Claus, all around. They haven't done, no, that's a happy moment. Yeah. Helping every neighbor out I can, trying to get them, you know, everybody don't have their best day. So
All
I
right.
try to help out.
Well, if you just want a very brief update, I'm starting my 2nd year, and 2025 was, I think, action-packed and busy for us, and I'm very proud of a lot of the things that we accomplished. And I ran on fiscal responsibility, accountability, and transparency. So for the first time in over at least 16 years, we were able to do a levy rate, something that they had looked at before. We've done it through finding those efficiencies as well as doing RFP for contracts. That's another thing that they hadn't done for the last 20, 25 years. We have a lot of handshake agreements, and so we've gone into an RFP process trying to make sure that we are definitely making sure that we're still providing the best services, and in fact, we're finding some even better savings for our employees, that people better responses and services as well, lowering some rates. And so, fiscal responsibility there, accountability, transparency, up until and through January 2nd last year, when you got the agenda, you received the agenda. If you wanted to know any of the specifics about the agenda, you had to go to the county auditor's office to verify. So we have opened up the agenda process. We now have it all hyperlinked. We are live streamed as well as archived on the special website area. So it's just like church. If you come in at 9:35 and we've started, you push the little button and you just come right into us. If you want to watch us that evening while you're eating dinner, you can go into the archive and see our meetings. That worked well, so then we took that to the board staff. Not only do we have that open to the public, again with the hyperlinked agenda items, as well as the streaming and the website capability, but we added a lot more for our staff. So we're trying to bring groups together so that we can talk and all hear the same information and ask the same questions at the same time. So I think that is really helpful in our transparency and accountability. We are going into, we started late last year, and so that will extend probably until the mid of this year, a strategic plan. Strategic plan hasn't been done in the county for over 30 years. So that's very important to set our vision. We also then set our priorities. Unfortunately, we won't have any time for our budget season this year, but it will help us be prepared for the following years. That had not been done for over 30 years, and I don't think I mentioned that. We've also been citizen-centric, so if you remember back to the election in 2024, and you saw the long lines of people waiting for like hours at a time outside the election office, it was a cramped, small election office, and it had poor accessibility for our residents, and it was pretty much all outside. And the building needed a lot of work, and we said, why are we doing this? So we moved our election over to Riverside. There's parking, there's nice indoor space. We more than doubled our election booth capability with inside, and we've already hosted some of our first election there, including city council and the school board this year. Let's see. When we talk about mergers and efficiencies, one of the big things that we did right off the bat was merged with the state for the medical examiners. So we still have our medical examiner office where our autopsies were merged with the state. We were in like a cramped back closet of sorts in the basement, and we needed much expansion, so we saved at least $37 million right off the top, plus over $1 million of ongoing costs. We revamped our whole grant program. I know you guys currently have a grant application now that we're looking at. So what we really are trying to do is see the county in the four corners. We're not just one centric, but we're looking throughout the four corners of the county. And in doing that, one of the things we did was we got the grant program so that we all have both more flexibility to collaborate, but to look at our own specific communities and see what we can get. We saved money with the insurance carrier. We implemented a kiosk in the jail. That was pretty exciting. Back in September, October, I was talking, we'd only been in place for like 5 weeks, and we already had 193 people that had used it. So if you're out of jail and you need assistance, we have a kiosk there that they can hook you up with different services and needs that you would have to be in jail. Oh, updating policies and procedures within the county. Again, things that have happened, we've done for years. I was sworn in on June 2nd. By June 3rd, we had our first workplace violence issue. And when I went into HR the next day, I'm like, hey, so what's our policy on workplace violence? She said, we don't like it? I'm like, okay, it might be time to revamp that. So we took a look at our policies and procedures to make sure that we're always up to date. That's what we accomplished in 2025, and we have a whole other list of great things I'll be working on in 2026, but that would take up most of the rest of your meeting. So, if any questions for me on any of that?
Sounds good.
All right.
Good.
Are you in the building down off of 63rd, where the governor has revamped the building there, and there's quite a few different entities that compiled all their workspace into one?
I'm at the county building, so I'm right on Court Avenue.
Okay, yeah,
Right up here. Yeah, she does a statement.
okay, yeah. I didn't know if you said the two of you,
We merged with some areas or trying to find efficiencies,
Yeah.
but that would be one of them at this point.
okay,
We have been finding efficiencies within our own buildings, so that we have some more movement within staff offices that's going to be taking place in the next month. As we're trying to make sure that everyone works together, has more of a team environment and is in a similar area so they can collaborate.
yeah, when they're in the same building, it makes it easy.
Yeah.
You can go face to face.
Yeah?
Yeah, that's what I like.
Any other questions? Hopefully that wasn't too much.
No, that was perfect, because, I was there 30 years ago, and some of the things you hit on, need to be done. And just watching it throughout the years, I think it served you guys for a little in the future. Really,
You're right.
let's kind of, it's not sure on the agenda here, just got back into town, last night, and, we have Mike Schrock here from the city. I had called, Pete earlier, and we had talked earlier about, our fire coverage and our fire, contract today, for fire protection and ambulance service. And I've also mentioned in my message to Mike, expect you to come up here. But, we could talk on the phone, but that's all right. And I'm glad to have you come up at any time you want. But, last year, even further back than that, we'd like to work with the city of Ankeny to establish the boundaries of where they want to go and where we want to go. And hopefully that we can work through that. It's been a tough thing. I know I had breakfast with the mayor. She was in high school class with my daughter, and so we did a lot of talking and kind of let her know, where Alleman was and where we wanted to go, and basically, our doors are wide open to work with the city. And so hopefully that works well. But the one elusive thing that we haven't been able to lock in, and maybe, I know this on the sewer system situation for Alleman was, we need to get our boundaries squared and 20 agreements. And that's been pretty important and something we've worked on for a long time.
Guess we can start with the lady first, since county has been part of the discussions there. The last, thank you for having me. I don't think that we as two cities have that relationship, so that's been stated in the former fashion. It's not my perspective of things. I was hoping to be here more to facilitate talk. But I'll do both as needed. I was recently appointed city manager. That was in December. I've been dealing with it for 11 months. I've been dealing with it for about 4 years. So, familiar with the different issues that we have going on. Obviously, not the long-standing history, but I guess I would say I acknowledge that, but I think I'm not paying too much attention to that. If there's a desire to do something different, obviously that's got to be supported by my city council. And the past approach has been we've had starts and fits with some different proposals. And the last place that we left the discussion about annexation boundaries was we're going to let the market dictate what occurs. That's been Ankeny's position when it comes to housing development. That's just been an approach to growth. We don't provide incentives to residential, but we're very, anyways, we're pretty market driven. We also have the land use plan that we've adopted, the 2040 plan. Everybody's familiar with that, if you see it. In that plan, we've established how we can provide services to the community as shown in this map. So that includes water, sewer, police, fire, public works. Those are things that are incorporated here. So anytime we talk about if there are adjustments to be made to the map, obviously the council has to bless that. And there has to be a rationale for it. And again, there's been, again, the last proposal I saw was from February of 24. And it showed trying to establish more of a permanent annexation boundary, half mile north of 126. I believe that's where we showed the proposed moratorium, the previous proposal. I don't think there's any issues there. We obviously are familiar with the property owners up in that area, and they're not necessarily wanting to come into Anchorage at this point. And that's fine. We had, again, from a planning purposes of serving that area, our planning area extends where the proposed service boundaries. So that's not an issue. As you move east of Highway 69, we've had some annexations that occurred. Property owners have willing to come in, there's 20, but it's voluntary annexation, and we've accommodated their requests. And so in this proposed, again, our proposed moratorium, we said, okay, we don't know what's going to happen. This is our map.
That's not gonna happen.
My apologies, I didn't bring enough of those. We'll get that additional. But we had suggested that there would be a 5 or 10 year moratorium on that area north. So as you're near I-35, north of what Hope Kimberly has purchased, Hope Bay, and others. And the point being that I think we're still interested in trying to figure out who can serve what, who wants to be brought in. We've had indications that those property owners would like to be Ankeny proper. But we know that there's an ongoing discussion amongst these communities. So we had proposed again that there would be a moratorium on any annexations in that area for a 5-year basis. Because quite frankly, we don't want to grow that far north. It's the frog developments, that growth for now. We have other stuff that needs infill. So that's where we had left it. I don't know what other communication has occurred since then. I know there's some back and forth between Eric Jensen, who's our community development director, and your attorney, but I don't think that's going anywhere. So I guess I'm here to listen.
So how much different from that map it is to this one here you have on that cover, like what we got? The one you got right here, the brown one you got right, the one you got right there, how much different is it from the one you got in your book?
Make sure you call it, please.
That's the only one we got that's close enough to.
So we go a little bit, let's see. So our planning area is a half mile north of.
That's about what, that's kind of about what that line is, isn't it? So you got already established
It
here.
pretty much goes, and you're gonna
You basically want to square this corner here, like, straight across on the other side of the interstate.
I could address, because I had those conversations with Eric down Florida, and this is something, we already have this, deal, but this is something I prepared, and, I think you have that. And it talks about, and then also, what's that? Yeah. Two. And we're taking more of a planning approach versus property owners deciding how the city growth is shaped. And this is our comp plan. And this is a half mile north. This is a half mile north. And this was Lindemeyer, and this drains southwest. They had that property. We wanted this frontage because we have a plan to run sewer along there, serve the areas north to the flows here. So our goal would be for cost for infrastructure and producing revenues. That table I have there, it identifies potential revenues from the 134th Street corridor. And it's like 7 million just for connection and access fees that we need to build a sewer system. And so we basically, we've gone to the city development board and we agreed to your annexation. We annexed up here. And then Bill Kimberly, and Lindemeyer decided, because we wanted that frontage, because we run a sewer here, and then it goes north. And so we need those revenues for the whole sewer system, to build a wastewater treatment facility and to build a system for it. So we basically agreed to have that. This area here, talked to Don Clark. This is part of that Rock Creek basin. We can try to discuss this. But we have a proposed order of boundary we had sent to you. That's where our position is. That would be dictated by infrastructure, cost, and we need that revenue to build. We're starting out.
So we're not actively seeking property owners to say, hey, you want to annex? I mean, we're not doing that. We're busy doing other things. We're not approaching them.
One of those property owners is owned by Keith Muehlenthaler, who was already signed to come in to the city or desires sewer and to develop the land that's in the city. So he's the one I met with him, and he was understood that if those people on there get sewer, that's the main thing. Bob, with Shaw, And they want sewer so they can develop. So, and that's the goal we have.
Well, it looks like, we're pretty close.
Yeah.
We're, between Anthony's wants and needs and Alleman's wants and needs. Mike, do you think we can hammer out a deal here that would allow us to
Well, I think
move?
a proposed boundary, and it'd be a 28E agreement, so the problem is you plan and pay for infrastructure, and that's a public investment, and so we need the land, just like Ankeny, you build all those sewer lines going up into that area, and we were gonna annex, and I could understand that investment, so that's our goal, is plan not only what makes sense, and we have orderly growth, but also cost of infrastructure. So that's kind of where we're at, and we're consistent with your compliment, totally. And then you have a little extra, that makes sense, we just want that frontage on 134th Street. And
What about somewhere we just follow this line here all the way across the interstate?
well, the east interstate would be Elkhart. So, now Elkhart has had different plans, because I was at Beach for the kid.
The only thing you're cutting out is like Middle Farms land, is land that's straight. North of there.
Yeah, the area to the east of 69, that's area, we need that for revenue, it's shown right on the sheet here. Amount of generated, that would go quickly to help pay for things, so.
So I see a timeline of 2030, so is that the
What's that?
expectation of when you're gonna have a sewer plant available for these people to access? I think that's gonna be the issue, is if you have property owners that want sewer and they wanna develop, are you gonna be able to serve them anytime soon?
That's
Well-
always been the problem
that's
when they
what-
call us, is when and if, and we're trying to balance that when and if. We know that it's gonna take 3 years to come up with planning and all those things to get us into that
Yeah.
position. The school system is gonna be the main user up
In the
front
beginning.
in the very beginning, and they're growing. We know that that's gonna keep coming at us. Someday if the interest rates, like you guys, if come down, then we can move, but I guess, baby steps first. We need to figure out
If we,
who's
Well,
what.
this is one of
I
our
would
steps we
say-
gotta take is,
I would say,
have a annexation line between us.
That everybody can count on,
yeah.
you know.
And I think this is the only area, we need this area here, not only that we, preserve the revenue from development of this area, but also going north, it's gravity flow. Who's gonna develop this area? You can't provide that service. Don Clark told me, your capacity is only up to, properties fronting 134th Street. How you gonna serve the area to the north, and how's that gonna be handled? So,
It can be served, it's just, again, I think there are certain planning things that can be done to serve areas
Yeah.
further north.
Gravity's a lot easier, but.
The gravity flow.
well, need gravity flow you can't hook onto a force main, it'll blow out of your stools and stuff. Well, that won't work.
Again, I'm happy to, we've had a changeover, we got a new council member, we've had actually a couple of new council members since this discussion occurred. I'm happy to relay the desire of the city council of Alleman to my board. That's not an issue whatsoever. I think they have to try to understand what Ankeny's needs are. I mean, we're gonna have some potential issues. You're wanting revenue, we also want revenue, and we want to develop, we're ready to go if need be. I think that's gonna be the issue, is what's to stop Ankeny from continuing to develop if we have the ability to serve people. That's a hard one to just say, sorry, go see all of it. I mean, if they can tap in today. So I think that's gonna be our issue is, trust me, we're growing plenty. we have enough to serve. Clearly, anything along the interstate is of value to both communities, and I get that. So again, I'm happy to relay the information to the council. We can have a conversation about it, and see where they stand.
How's the government funding process working anymore? Is it actually there, or like you guys or us, can get some type of government funding grants or whatever?
I would say it's more difficult to get.
Yeah, I'm getting that, yeah.
Earmarks are great, but I hate them, but that's the way of the world. They're terrible. But that's just the way it's done. We've received some money for water facilities, but that was under the last Infrastructure Act. So I would say SRF is going to be the way to go. I don't know of any other particular grants that would be ODA funding, I suppose, but there'd have to be some type of economic development.
We also, a lot of people kind of forget that we have declared ourselves an urban renewal and a blighted area in the entire city. I'm hoping that there would be monies for cities that are in that position also.
We went to and supported by letter and to the City Development Board meeting, and we supported Ankeny's annexation of this area. But there I made it clear that we need this, don't go further north over here, because we need that to help pay for it. And we were thanked by Matt Rasmussen for what we did, from where we were to where we came. We want to work with our neighbors now, and we think it would be beneficial to everybody. We had pursued a regional one because the thing is, we build a sewer here, someday the DNR will come up, just like in Grimes, and said, they hooked onto the WRA. And my feeling is why everybody did, Waukee, everybody, and Polk City did, and you partnered with them on that Rock Creek sewer system in Saylorville. And the county participated in that. And, we don't have the tax base to go to debt, to build anything significant. And so that's why we like the county. And in that what I handed out, it showed revenue generated by the school district, the county, even Rollins Hospital from development that pays for it. So it's an economic development thing, jobs and everything. It's the same thing in Ankeny, what you're doing on the East Fork. Kind of like, I know Brett used to work at West Des Moines. I used to be the West Des Moines Community Development Director in the 80s. And what we did, started that professional commerce park area, Valley West Mall, that continued west. And that was established by people with a lot of vision in that community, the leaders. That whole office park area brought in major corporations and stuff. But, so we would like to continue that, especially with Ames to the north. And it's like, even Elkhart, we all work together to promote the area, develop research facilities and stuff. And Ankeny's got all right now it has it going, and there's so much potential there. What we need is a regional mall up here, my wife and I.
Not enough market for that.
What's that?
There's not enough market for that right now. One of the questions that I have is, obviously, as you consider future growth, we'll talk about that in the next item, but police, fire, EMS, how are you going to serve those businesses?
They'll generate a lot of revenue, just look at it.
We're going to have
It doesn't generate that much revenue, I'm almost positive.
Yeah, I know, but right now, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. This community, it's to me, it's absurd that they don't have a sewer system for up to. I work in the Twin Cities area, and it's metropolitan planning there, and the metropolitan system, the metropolitan council, they extend out, and everything.
That's not answering the question. We want to know how Alleman's going to pay for that service. You got to answer that question.
You do it with economic development. is how you pay tax-based growth. Ankeny pays for it with tax-based growth. So as you grow, and it's like what you start out with is not, hopefully, in time, you'll be able to pay for those things.
I mean, we're really conservative, and we're just waiting for a plat, you know, somebody that wants to show interest in our city. I mean, share, we would just love to have that. Once we get that down, once we get a developer, you know, and we have to show them how we can serve them. I mean, once that foot drops, then we're up. That's all we're asking for, is that opportunity. And, you know, we just have to, well, we need your help. We need Polk County's help. I mean, it's just like, we always running into brick walls on this thing, or I have been. I try to find every angle that there is. I've contacted by phone and face-to-face developers, talking, you know, to come to our city, you know, and it's same old question.
We
Same old
gotta have
answer.
sewer for that.
Sewer, so.
So we got, actually, actively, we met with 2 developers for a site at 69th and 142nd. The southeast corner is for sale. But the problem is we don't have sewer. One was gonna develop a business park.
Okay,
So anyway,
you kind of got the gist of where we are
Yeah.
and where we want to go. And hopefully you can relay that to your council, and
I sure can.
and maybe we can sit down and have a good discussion, our council, your council, or you know, and we'll answer questions and work together on a boundary. We'd like to get a 10-year boundary if we could, but you know, we would just like to do that. So with that, I think we've kind of discussed pretty much everything in that area. The fire coverage, and as we discussed before, personally, I don't see, you know, any kind of change in what is being done. I mean, as far as service, other than the cost, it's going to keep going up, and I hopefully, I think we've had a pretty good deal throughout the years with Ankeny, and Ankeny's taking care of us. You know, I guess we can't, personally, we can't say much about it as long as we're not paying more than any more per person for whatever than the citizens of Ankeny. I don't know what you think about that, maybe not, I don't know, but I don't want to shock you.
No, there shouldn't be a premium. We're not
You know.
proposing a premium or anything like that.
Okay.
We've simply said that, you know, under state law, there's a maximum amount that can be charged to townships.
Mhm.
And that was what was incorporated with the current agreement between Ankeny and Alleman. And when we were challenged by our council to look at our expenses and revenues and other opportunities, we quickly identified that these type of discrepancies exist. So under state code, cities can form 2080 agreements for police and fire services, and the rate that can be charged is whatever the rates the communities agree upon.
When was the last time we had an E28 agreement here? I just thought we signed one last time I was on, like 8 years ago or so.
Oh, well, we don't know for sure. I think we signed a 2080 agreement every year with.
It would have been in 17 or 18, the last agreement
That's what I remember.
2014?
14? Yeah, could have been.
Well, it says it expires in 2014, but it's continued. 2010 is the date it was filed. So it's
For
been-
5 years.
It's been a while.
Well, I mean, I can see one coming down the pipe. Maybe we can get the sewer thing too, but there, you know, what are your, keep going, I guess, what do you think?
So as we met, and what we proposed both to Alleman and Alcar is that the amount that we pay as residents in Ankeny should be what is charged for Alleman. So we shouldn't, Ankeny residents shouldn't be subject.
17 is what this one,
That's the annexation
Oh,
agreement that I found for you
okay.
guys.
28 agreement,
For
That's
annexation.
annexation.
okay.
So what we looked at is taking the budget of the department, and you get police, or you get EMS and you get fire. So we combine that, and then we back out any revenue that we receive, and then things that are not directly associated with fire and EMS service. So if it's fire prevention, education, we remove that. So that gives us a total budget, and then we take the valuations of both communities as taxable valuation, and then we use that to get revenue to pay for the overall budget. So what we ended up doing is it ends up increasing. So currently, if I'm understanding this correctly, I'm sure you're probably correct, but $26,431 is what has been paid by Alleman for fire and EMS service. And based on this new formula, it would go up to $42,816. $42,816. And Ankeny pays $8,595,000. Well, actually, $8,595,000. And that's just for this particular service.
And what's the population of Ankeny now, 70?
76,
75.
207 census. It's expensive to have to the fire, let me tell you. I mean, it's most of our budget, majority of our budget, for property taxes.
Is that a increase, all at once, or can we work with that?
So what we talked about is, we're open to, if you want to do that over a 3-year period, that's perfectly fine. We're fine with that, if you want to catch up. But just keep in mind that you're always going to be catching up. And then by that 4th year, it's going to be a bigger number. So we've offered that. We've also offered Elkhart, if you want to stay on the current rate, which would be that township rate, we're fine for the next year if you want to do that. But then it would jump up the following year, so a quicker jump.
Can I ask what Elkhart is, just since you're doing it? And I have them too.
What's the population of Alleman, 500?
423.
It's $1,000 a year.
That's census,
Now, during the day, it's about 24.
yeah.
Well, this is a figure, it's a big figure. It's a figure that I'm gonna have to, that we will have to go to our residents and, just flat out, let them know that we appreciate the fire department out there.
Yes, we do.
Right now.
And this will take effect.
We will not be without Ankeny Fire Department because there's not really any place else for us to go.
It would take effect whenever the parties agree to it. And ideally, we would have it in place by the next fiscal year,
It's just-
July 1, 2026.
Do our residents currently, or will they, moving forward, be billed for EMS services
They're
on
not,
an individual basis?
so not today, unless it's on our fee schedule, so nothing would change.
So now if a rescue comes to a resident, do they charge a resident if they take them to the hospital on top of this?
There's,
What-
No,
what are we
there's the
doing?
billing
What are we doing twice if that happens?
you're not getting, nothing changes. The billing, it's just that the city of Alleman pays the actual cost that we're all paying. I mean, it's not extra, we're not billing you extra, it is just paying the cost of the service. And we're not subsidizing Alleman.
To maintain the buildings, the people that are
That's exactly right.
educated in the service, the trucks, the daily, well, when you need it, you need
A
it.
couple fire stations there, so.
We gotta man them 24/7 because misery doesn't go to bed. It's there.
I mean, most of that, out of the $8.6 million, most of that is, let's back out revenue. We have $8.6 million just in payroll.
For
It's
the,
over $9 million actually.
for fire rescue.
Before, yes.
Yeah.
Before revenue.
So you factor 9.
It's close to like.
They've been thinking about contingency plans for if they do away with property taxes for homeowners over 30 years. Where they're gonna get the financing of. They've been thinking
I
about
mean, there's a lot of different.
That's another fight.
Another precedent. I mean, I think that we're all curious to see what happens. I mean, obviously, it's been pretty clear that both sides of the House, the Senate, and the governor's office, they've all, Democrats or Republicans, have said property tax reform is going to happen. I would be shocked if they adjourn without something. I mean, it's going to be a cap of some sort. The
It
fact
rolls
of the matter
downhill.
is,
It's processing.
we will be, absolutely. I mean, we've already started doing things, we cut positions that were originally funded. 4 years ago, we still haven't added those positions back in. When the rollback error occurred.
So it takes several years.
So that was 4 years ago, and we still haven't filled those positions. So, I mean, we're doing well as a community, and it's going to impact us depending. I mean, obviously, if they put a cap on anything or any community of 2%, even if they allow growth, it's still hard to do because we need 5% growth every year just to pay the payroll. That's just to keep people on board. And so this year we grew 9.1%, which is a fantastic year. But because of the way that the legislature crafted the bill, we get penalized 3 percentage points. So we now have 6.1% growth to pay for all the services. We keep in mind I need 5 just for payroll. So I now get 1.5% of the city's growth to pay for all of the other services that come with the growth of a community that grows 2,000 people a year.
So how's a stagnant community? They get the 2% and
Well,
they fare well or no?
it depends on your growth. So
Well, there's no growth.
if
There's
there's no
stagnant.
growth, then under the current code, you can set your tax rate up or down. I mean, that's kind of the beauty of, I guess, of not having growth. I hate to say that.
Yeah,
I
no.
mean,
But there's a lot of
it
them out
allows you
there.
to pull some different levers, but you got to sell that to your resident.
Yeah, okay.
And
So, backing up, you asked, I thought it was a very good question before, if you have all this growth, and not to go too far back, but if you have all this growth, how are you gonna pay for your fire, your police, and your EMS, right? And I know Grimes city budget the best, just because I served 16 years there. Been having conversations with my city minister, so much like you, I don't know the percentage of growth, but I know we went up $160 million in valuation, like new growth there, and we can only capture 300,000 of it. And he said that doesn't cover our roads, let alone we have $1 million hit for our public safety. So I thought that was a very valid point.
yeah, I just think long term, that's going to be an issue. I mean, and anybody doesn't want to be in a position where we're extending services to more of your growth. I mean, that will be a conflict point for us. I just know it will.
Sure. And we wouldn't expect it, yeah.
But I think the question would be, are you going to stand up a fire department?
And if I could talk about that one, when the governor gave her address the other night, and as the legislature's been talking, areas that you can consolidate service are looked favorably. I mean, they want to see those, kind of like I told you about the efficiencies we've been finding, they want counties to find efficiencies in areas of collaboration.
Yeah, I mean, I think fire should be provided on a regional basis. I'm a firm believer in that. But we'll see. There's a lot of politics in that.
And a lot of politics. Yeah, they love their fire departments and police departments. That's what it is. Okay. Council, any other questions? I've always kind of advocated that, I mean, I don't want to raise taxes, especially city taxes, any more than anybody else, but I've always said that we need to grow our tax base 3%. I mean, we need to collect 3% because we just can't tell that insurance company, no, you can't raise your rates. no, your fire department can't raise your day, you know, it's just one of those things that we have to do to keep up. And, council will be coming into our budget in March, and so we need to have that in the back of our minds, that that's something we'll have to deal with at this table. Well, okay, needed to move.
I had a comment.
Yes, sir.
One thing we haven't talked about here is the North Polk school system, which serves the northern part of Ankeny that's growing. Its enrollment projections are up to 2,000 at that campus here. They're running out of capacity at the Central Elementary School. It's going to continue to grow as Ankeny grows. Elkhart and Polk City, we haven't had no development here. And Alleman has to provide all the services, one way or another. And there's a point where I think they're at the point, there's so much discussion here about road maintenance and traffic control and all those things. This community needs to grow with the school system to provide proper services, and that includes public safety. During the day, you correct me, they have a resource officer, one resource officer at those 3 schools. And the county is that you don't have a police officer in the community all the time. And that resource officer goes to Polk City for a couple days. He's over there, there's nobody in this community for public safety. The EMS exists in Ankeny. That school should have better public safety emergency services, period. And that's just ignored. And I think it should be a concern.
So, Polk County Sheriff's Office does contract with different
Yes.
communities.
Yeah, but
Grimes, Bondurant, Elkhart. I have a couple other communities that were running numbers, and they're looking at signing contracts. If that's something that you want them to look at.
No, what has to happen is the home needs to grow and provide those services, so it's right there. We just, you got this, I'm a third party basically, you know, I don't live here, I'm an outside consultant. I'm just telling you, you go to Ankeny, what do you have? They're your schools, you have services and everything else. My kids went to Ankeny schools, I live on the west side in the Ankeny school district. You go to Grimes, you don't have public safety, emergency services, close proximity for a large school system. And as it grows, there's gonna be a greater chance of something happening. Just even somebody getting injured. You know, you gotta get services there. If you only have a police officer, a sheriff deputy in town, something happens, some incident happens. And
Polk County does pretty good up here. There's somebody here usually 10 hours a
But
day.
there's things that do happen, you know, in Hydroson, starts leaking, got a ball game over there, everybody's eyes are, you know, we gotta call the fire department, up here right away to,
Did that happen recently?
we've had that happen.
it's a matter
I
of,
think we've documented four different times that that's happened.
the matter is, you go to, a growing community is gonna have not only those public services that this place needs, but also private services that benefit a school system, the school campus. And so Ankeny or Alleman cannot grow without a public service system, so we gotta figure out how to do that.
And a lot of people, it's Ankeny residents' children who come to town and rely on that safety and service, because they're gonna be huge. They're already affecting the size of the school, but it's Ankeny residents' children that are there, so.
They're in our school boundaries, the northern part of Ankeny is.
It's about,
So, I mean, we're serving their kids.
I mean, I'm assuming that the school district's paying for the SRO.
Yeah.
That's how it works,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And I told you about the $1 million public safety hit that Grimes has having because they're adding 3 more sheriffs. So I'm still confused, what are you asking? Like, I'm willing to get sheriff numbers for you. And I do understand that they come through here even without that, but
Half an hour every 8 hours.
We have a contract with the sheriff's department to come through. I think it's 3 times a day for 3 minutes or something like that. I don't remember
That's,
exactly what it
that's,
is.
we do have.
Three times a day for 3 minutes.
Yeah, 3 times a day for 3 minutes, but monthly we get a report from a deputy that comes into the council.
It's not that, would it be nice to have somebody here in a community of significant size to have?
You don't want your
police?
police force, trust me.
No,
I think
absolutely,
that-
I don't want that either.
Well, to have people on nearby
Right.
for quick response.
I think I had an important point to make here. That we do have a contract with the sheriff, and they do have a deputy in town for 3 minutes a day, 3 times, or 3 times a day, 3 minutes, something along that line. And monthly, we get a report from the deputy who comes and gives us a breakdown of the calls that they answered, the traffic stops that they made, and whatnot. Now, we don't get a breakdown of how much of that is related to the school.
Okay.
That would be very nice to
I
have.
was just gonna say that.
Because I
That's
do
the opposite
believe that
effect.
most of the traffic stops or whatnot are high school kid related. And we've got, I noticed, I didn't bring it with me from the last meeting because it was in the last packet. There are things like suicide, narcotics possession,
Underage
break-ins,
Smokers
and whatnot.
and.
So basically, all of the activity that the sheriff deals with in our community is related to someone who's not paying for it. I'm not saying that to be combative or pick a fight with anybody, especially the school. But I just thought it would be an important point that we are contracting for emergency services on at least the law enforcement side of the deal, but in a disproportionate way to what the city of Alleman needs.
Basically, at the end of the day, 25, 24, it's gonna grow, it's growing rapidly, 100 million students a year.
Yeah, funding agreements, arrangements with the school district for different, I thought I heard something about roads.
Okay. I'm gonna delay, I think we've gotten a lot of information out on the table to you, too. You know where Alleman stands and some of the problems that we are dealing with. We're going into the budget. I'm just hoping and praying that, we can work together and get something done for the community. But like when I say, there are all students in sewer and flushing the school and everything, a lot of them are coming from Ankeny, and they're just Ankeny kids, and that's not a problem. But it is a problem when they all come up and flush the stool, and then we don't
They
have.
have their own septic
They got
system.
their own system.
They have the same
Okay.
septic.
Why don't
Yeah,
they
they
try to
have
understand that
it's a
correctly?
septic system.
Yeah,
And it's at about maximum capacity.
but they're not impacting the individual residents because they have their own. I just want to make sure.
Yeah,
you understood.
Yeah, their system design, they can add on to it, so
Yeah.
I forgot what they said, a couple
They're
thousand.
also
students.
using up the water
Really?
capacity.
It's quite a bit, it's more than I thought it was. Should check into
They're
that.
also using up the water capacity.
And water.
We get from Des Moines Water Works a certain amount, and we're gonna be, the school keeps trying using that up where they can't.
They're
build a
raising
house.
our water rates.
Not right,
as we
it's
speak.
the amount of water available for the community.
Yeah, and so, the little, just the residents of Alleman don't necessarily responsible for that usage. What is it, 90% of the water that we get from the Des Moines Water Works is used by the school and 10% by us?
Well, it goes, it's about equivalent now of 400, so it's about 50-50,
Is it 50/50?
yeah.
Okay, so half of our water.
And that's growing, but our water allotment from the Des Moines Water Works is being used up. I think maybe we could build 10 or less than 20 houses, or else we're gonna have to buy capacity out of the system, and we'd be, and then they keep using it up. The way you're gonna settle all this, deal with all these things, is get a sewer system for this community to grow and take advantage of the economic development opportunities for 3,000 at least, a minimum 3,000 acres owned by property owners. 2,000 that is the Elwell family
They're
for
very,
development.
very
Danny Elwell, they all
pro-development.
signed on, they want a sewer system. And,
I don't want to pay for it.
what?
I mean, that's part of the issue. I mean, we're talking about developing places where infrastructure doesn't exist. And so they either have to pay for it,
Yes,
or you develop in places where it does exist, and then you extend it incrementally. And
yes, it
I
will
think
be,
that's kind of
but
an issue.
this would be the
It
beginning of
is,
the
it is,
improvement.
but how do you deal with that? I mean, you're trying to deal with that and, and grow. I mean, it's a tough nut to crack. I mean, developers just the other way, I mean,
Well-
you gotta show them, that down the road, they have access to a sewer system. Which brings me to, you ask that question. Is it completely out of the question of running a sewer line down to pipe that he's working, or out at the road there? I know, I'm just curious.
No, and Mayor, you and I have had that conversation. And I think that if Ankeny was built out, that would be a different discussion. But, just like you're talking about trying to grow your tax base, it would be a bad decision for us to give up capacity
Yes.
today. Now, in the future, I don't know.
Yeah, who would you take that sewer capacity from? They might be kind of upset.
That's true.
Their design, sewer system's designed, I got a copy of it, it's that thick. And it's designed, even the lines coming up here, you have to build a new line to come up here. And the estimate was with Snyder Associates did one for the county, just to bring it up to serve the school, and they did sewer would have been $4 million. Well, that'd be better to put into a system, a base to start out to serve Ankeny, or Alleman as it grows. So we go over that all the time, and I have to do a rebuttal on it all the time. And I think that's out, and they don't have, even that sewer, bringing the sewer up, the 134th Street's the limit that you could serve with the sewer size of the sewers. Well, if we had our own, then you had capacity or use that up in Ankeny. Higher density, or you're gonna have hotels and stuff, hopefully at 126th Street. So when I worked in West Des Moines, sanitary sewer capacity is an ongoing, all the time issue. And I don't see Ankeny wanting to deal with that. We need a sewer system, period. And
On that, we will, is there anything that you need from us that we haven't covered?
No, it's good to see everybody face to face and to meet you. It's clear where you're at.
You know where we are, and Jill, you know, and hopefully, we will have more meetings like this, that will be fruitful.
We do have the WRA meeting set up, and I have an Elkhart meeting set up, so Nunn's office, and we met with us, and in Nunn's office, the conversation was we have to figure out who all the partners are and see what any future progress looks like. And so we're having those meetings, or getting ready to. They're on my calendar.
All right, and then
Maybe
you'll let us.
attend the WBR meeting with you guys, or is that just?
Right now, I just want to have that conversation and see what the possibilities are. And I know that, and I heard you at the meeting that we had in our office, that you really want your own sewer system, and maybe that is the best way to go. Remind me, if I was to look at this map, isn't your sewer system that you're proposing like right here or something?
4 Mile Creek.
That's west.
that would be, our would be over there. And the
I think
sewer will-
it's on 4 Mile, right?
There, now the
Right
problem with 4
on
Mile Creek,
134.
the concern I have with 4 Mile Creek is, at what point will the DNR say, cut it off, no more? And then we gotta figure out where we're gonna relocate.
Well, if it's meeting the standards, I don't think the DNR is going to tell you to shut down a treatment facility.
No.
Nobody else
Set
does
down
good. I've
development,
had that happen.
set down development, no more building permits, and Brian said that.
Okay,
There are a lot more issues.
we will send you off into
I
the,
love that.
into the cold tundra.
So thank you very much for inviting me to join you tonight.
Thank you. Is this over with? No. You still got work to do.
No, I have one in my office, yes. In fact, I have this at my office too, so I can make.
I think,
these two maps.
Mike,
You know, what-
the moratorium line should be that south boundary.
I'm sorry, what?
Let me know how your meetings go.
Oh, sure.
The rest of them, but
Very nice
it's been on my mind for 4 years.
We've had quite a few conversations already in my 1 year.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks. They won.
Is that possible?
I don't know.
I got wood to cut at home. They won't doing that.
The agenda, guys, would be, the city flag. Code enforcement.
Review of Polk County Supervisor.
Well, she just gave the reading.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't remember what I was about.
I'll just.
And that's the meeting that she had with you guys? I guess I didn't get that out of that.
That is Declan's office, no, Declan's office was with us. Bill and myself and Jim Osweigan went down. And the supervisors are going to go meet with the WRA to see about us hooking onto it, or if they would rather that we have an independent station. What was the third one? Oh.
Annexation, line with the coalition with them, with everybody around it, actually.
And then they're having a meeting with Elkhart to see if they're gonna fit into the
The
sewer
supervisors-
system.
The supervisors are going to speak with Elkhart to see
I got
what they're
that.
doing.
Okay.
Okay, Porter Hills, I remember about,
Just that one.
I did, that next one. He said he's been sick for a couple weeks. His basement's flooded. He says 12 or 15 times throughout the past
Thank you.
20 years. And he was gutting his house, and that's what all the bags were. He said that night he was gonna go home, load them in the truck and home to the deal. I didn't get by because I didn't have time tonight, but has anybody?
No. That Tuesday, he had 2 cans on the corner after you talked to him.
And he didn't get rid of the,
No.
send him a letter.
And then,
We were nice.
the thing about this too, I've had complaints about him not mowing his yard too.
Well, 18 inches is the height when you can do something about that, so.
Complainant said the weeds were taller than his grandkid, that something needs to be done, so we need to watch it this summer too.
Yeah,
And do it, but I think a letter needs to be sent, because
Yeah.
that's just not a couple of weeks worth of.
we did the nice thing, so now, yeah. Because that's what guys have said, we'd like someone to say something, well, we did, so now, send the letter.
I'll review the property tomorrow.
Yeah.
And inform Jim, as well as send the appropriate information to Jim so that he can assess it from there. That's how we've usually done it, so that's how we'll proceed.
okay, that's my questions answered. Next thing is the speed calming measures on 134th George 4th Street. Logan?
Well, so initially this item was tabled until spring. At the request of Councilman Stevens, I've added a visual aid. And I believe, maybe Bill, you had something you wanted to speak on this?
Basically just been home a few days off from work, watching kids come down the road. I think we need to do something. I don't think narrowing the roads and spots is gonna work. I don't think it's setting a median in spots is gonna work. So I had Logan write up the thing to see what a speed hump's gonna cost. And, we're getting to the point where we need to get on their agenda, so we can be first thing in the spring and get them done. And I think we need a speed table, speed hump, there we go. That's 8 to 12 foot long. Is that what that is?
Yeah, so, your hump is typically, 10 to 12 feet.
Yep.
That picture that you had me include
3 to 4
was.
inches tall.
Yeah, so that one is substantially taller. You're talking an inch to an inch and a half taller, at that pizza ranch, hump. It was discussed, so in parking lots, they have a little more leeway. Really, I mean, it comes down to the council's decision on what you want to place, why you want to place it. That is purely your decision. I did, however, include a speed hump policy that I got from Waterloo with their standard specs. And from what I've gathered, you know, every city that installs these, there is a there is a data-driven standpoint that backs up why they're installed. And how they're going to be installed, so they're all put in uniform, in a uniform way. I would say,
So these are actually cut into the road,
yes, they have
part
to.
of the road will be ground out and they'll rebuild.
Yeah, they have to. You hit it with a plow one time and it'll just go willy-nilly on you,
So
so.
I mean, if we're gonna do something, we need to get it decided now so we get it going.
So,
And we wait until midsummer.
so what you're saying is we need to get something in our code book to, back up the speed bumps so that there's no recourse on us for trying to keep our citizens safe.
Well, I mean, that would be wise. It's not necessarily a prerequisite to installing it. The city does not currently have one, and we had them previously installed, so I don't think the two are mutually exclusive there, but it might be a wise decision for the council to come up
Well, we
with
didn't
a
have nothing that would
standard.
be this severe, we just had a speed bump that was,
Yeah.
mosquito bite too.
Right.
Where this here, they get it doing 40, it might do some damage.
But that also,
Jim has advised that he can write an ordinance that covers that.
Yeah,
That's perfect. Yeah.
there we go.
So I guess at the next council meeting, we need to vote on it, put it on the agenda so we can vote on it, get it started, get it on.
You'll have to have public hearing, so you'll have to next month.
Okay, that's why I said next month.
Public hearing.
Yeah. Get it set up so we can move forward on it if we want to.
so another thing that's not included with this, I wasn't able to get that information in time. But, so pretty much every city they have, I mean, they obviously have the policy and why they put them in here. But that's something that we're gonna have to decide for ourselves. It's gonna have to meet some data point for us to install these.
Or what about all your data on speed?
But
Why can't we use that? Everybody's speeding down the road with all your.
yeah, well, there's also a contingency in this Waterloo plan that says the city may decide to install a speed hump to improve traffic safety at any location without any request on file. In this case, the city of Waterloo will fund the speed hump. So, you know, I think a contingency like that should definitely be included. Otherwise, we're gonna need to go to engineering and say, hey, we need a speed study, because I don't have the radar signs on 3rd, 4th, and 5th. So, I think that's the next question.
On this note, on your side of the 134th, how's it,
You can tell who residents are, and you can tell who give Langley.
I mean, because we gotta think about them too, because from the 69 to this stop sign, I'm sure that's a.
Do you know if they just go through the stop sign?
Always. You can tell if it's someone who's, if it's a local
That is a
person,
farmer market.
you'll see people stop and you'll know, oh, it's one of our neighbors.
How would you?
Well, there's a couple of our neighbors who don't use it.
How would the neighbors feel about it?
Well, I guess that's
You
farm
can't,
to
that's a
market
whole
road,
county
you can't.
road.
Yeah, we cannot put anything on there.
Can't put them anything?
And we would
Not
not
even a
meet,
stop sign.
I can see I know on my street, there's a couple who pretend that it's not there.
A lot of people don't stop their stop signs on 134. They did it on 142.
So what's your opinion, Scott? What do you wanna do?
Well, I've been an advocate for these. since
Speed
the
bumps?
get-go.
Well, I know you wanna talk about Center Island, I just kinda.
Well, not just at the entrance.
Yeah.
To the.
I looked at, so I
to the
just don't
estates.
think it's wide enough for, cause the thing about it is, when we put a Center Island down there, we're gonna be detouring our farmers from coming down the road. We got at least 2 farmers that need to come down the road to do the work.
Well, with that being said, when they do that roundabout down there on, was it 134th? They're gonna try to divert traffic up this way.
They haven't released,
The island would
they
not
haven't
be a bad
released new
spot.
maps.
What's that?
They haven't released the new detour.
No, but you know what I'm saying.
That
We're
would
gonna
be
get
a
a lot
lot
of
of
traffic.
traffic. That'd be a good
That's on
one, too.
126.
So Scott and
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
have,
where that?
Yeah.
126.
Scott?
go ahead.
They're gonna come a mile north and
So Scott and I have a meeting on the 21st, with.
speak up.
Scott and I have a meeting on the 21st with a landscape architect from V&K to look at solutions to an island. We already knew that the road would most likely have to be widened. We're really just going to get specifics and visual aids on what it would look like and what something like that would entertain for what it would do to the farm traffic as opposed to the traffic coming off of 69, things like that. So
I'm just saying.
it's a work in
temporary
progress.
roundabout.
It will take some time to,
Exactly, and it does address the concern that you had initially with that slope
Mhm.
between the first stop sign and Highway 69. It does drop quite a bit, and you could potentially have some issues there, snowy, icy conditions or whatnot. So it would address that too. Am I pound my fist on the table and throw a hissy fit if we don't do something like that? No. Is it a potentially viable option for that area of the street? I think so. At the end of the day, it's worth looking into. And that's where we're at, just looking into it, see what potential impacts it would have, versus what benefit it might be.
So could you have something by next meeting, next month, or when's your guys' meeting?
the 21st, I couldn't tell you that. I don't know how long it's gonna take for him to take our ideas and put that in, a format and, with visual aids that we can be able
This
to.
is a rough one.
Yeah, I'm sure we can get some kind of visual aid at least. It is quite a lengthy process to determine how wide we have to make the road, what specifications and permits we need to file. We have to work with the DOT, since we would be adjoining the right of way. So there's a lot of different things, so I can't give you a direct answer on how long it's gonna take, until we've actually had this meeting and kind of discussed some of those things.
All right, I think I got the questions answered on that. Next up on the agenda is the drainage project on 134th Avenue would be built.
Based on what we're doing, me and Lauren just want to get a survey done, make sure, get a price on the survey first before we go any further. And get the survey done to make sure it can be done feasibly in the right way. We get a bid form set up, is that what we want to do?
Yeah.
So we can, if it's feasible, we can send out, or they send bids out to people, because this will be more than the 82,000 that we planned.
Yeah, so what I'm taking from the email that Forrest just sent, this is something that, we're just seeing today. It looks like, so they took my map and then they added some topo to it. And from what I gathered is he's not thinking that a survey would be an appropriate use of money. It's not really gonna tell us much more than that map topo is. And so they're looking at, actually getting a construction estimate put together. And the council needs to, determine how you want this project to go. Do you want to do half of it? I wouldn't advise that, but, do you want to do the whole thing? How, what size pipe are we putting in? Those are the kind of things that Forrest needs to know to give us a, construction estimate here. And he says here that he'll put together a letter of agreement. And then he moved forward much the same as we did with the stormwater project and the road improvements.
Yeah, but didn't, I don't know, what's that gentleman's name, who? Yeah, the gentleman that come out and
Landy.
did, he gave us a layout, he gave us a bid sheet of everything he was gonna use, did he, the pipe, the size?
Yep.
Gravel, why can't we use that as a,
We can, but he only gave us an estimate. It was not necessarily an estimate I had a hand in here. He gave us an estimate to do half of the section, not the full section, so it would not have included, the last
second
two
one?
lines, the last two lines, to the east.
I thought he gave us one all the way up to this third one here, and then the first one was already hooked up and ran the road, so they didn't do that. So
I could
I
be
thought he come all the way,
misremembering, but
I
I
thought
don't
he
believe
come
so.
all the way up to the high point of our grade, which included this, all three of those, 2 6s and the one you think might be a 4 or 6.
I know that it goes from 6
Because
inch
we
to
knew we had
4
one
inch.
already done, we wanted him to come up and catch the other 3. I don't know, I'd look, find that bid sheet and just go back and look at it.
Yeah, like I said, I didn't anticipate actually getting this today, so we weren't planning on having any more discussion, but just waiting for.
We'll just find it, then we'll go over and see what it says, and then we'll go.
The other big question I have is with Jim. The right-of-way situation with Mr. Muehlfauer.
Has anyone talked to him since then?
Well, he won't do a right of way just to do the digging, and he wants it back. But I think after he takes ownership of it, we need to have him have a contract where he does maintenance once a year on it. Keeps maintenance up once a year on it.
Doesn't sound like you're interested.
I mean, either that or he's gonna have to give us right of way so we can do maintenance on it.
You don't have to do nothing you don't want to.
Well,
But yeah, when we get a
we
problem.
haven't talked to him about a lot of this, because we kind of want to make sure we have all of our ducks in a row first, the survey, if we're gonna do it. If we're not, we're gonna go off the other guy's bid sheet, do that. I don't wanna talk to him 15 different times and give him 15 different hopes. Me and Howard wanna go one time, visit with him, get this,
And
this,
have papers you
and
can
have
show.
papers, throw it on the
Yeah.
table, and say, hey, this is what we wanna do, this is what it's gonna cost. We need this, we need that, instead of going 10, 12 times and really getting pissed off. So this is basically our start of it. We need to get this, if we're gonna do this, we need to figure out what we're gonna do, how we're gonna do it, which we have someone laid it out once already for us,
Right,
that does it
however,
all the time. This ain't someone that just come off the street to throw us a bid. This guy, this is this guy's livelihood. Ain't like he's just throwing numbers out his butt to us. He actually surveyed it already once. I actually seen him back there with the survey, him and 3 guys surveying the hell out of it before he gave us our original bid. So it's been surveyed, he knows what it is. So we basically gotta take his numbers, and if it has to go up for bid, give that to B&K and let them throw that out for bid.
And he's worked with Muehlthal.
Yes, he's worked for
Yes.
Muehlthal before, Muehlthal knows him. Muehlthal, he's done work for Keith.
Yep.
So this is a guy that does it for a living. I wouldn't trust this guy. I'd let him come in my yard and do some digging.
And this is the time of year that he works. I mean, not
This
that
is
we're
early spring,
going out there
yes.
putting the seed in the ground, this is the time that we need to work.
But I guess we need to know if we want to follow through with this. If we're just doing this just for the hell of it, and you guys are going to vote it down, you guys got to think that this is something we're going to do, want to spend the money on this thing, we need to know so we can move forward with it, or we're just going to, throw it out the window like we do most stuff.
Well, I was gonna talk to you about this too. On both these endpoints, where we start this drainage system, we can put the start and the cleanout point on the easement, on inside the easement, because we got 10 feet behind the houses, behind your house. Okay, where it comes inside of the, going underneath the ground by your house, we could put that clean out where it needs to be on easement, in the easement side. Then we need to figure out a good elevation for how deep we need to go, going across 134th. That's another key thing we need. If we get this deeper we can get this, the less maintenance we got, because this tractors ain't gonna get into it, or nothing. So there's 3 or 4 things right there we need to do.
Are they gonna have any intakes or anything this summer?
It's all field tile drainage.
Just field for the field.
Okay, and then we need to figure out, if we develop anything, this sewer system going across by your house, if they develop up north there, how much water can that thing handle if we get heavy rains?
Well,
We can put streets in, storm sewer, because is it gonna run into there, or we're gonna pipe underneath the highway again?
now,
So there's a lot of questions right
Boy,
there.
that's
the
why I
plan
hope
for
that the
this
city wants to
has
take over
like a
that drainage
60
area.
to 80 foot
They can do what they want with it.
open space corridor for a walkway and sanitary sewer, all that.
They could.
And the
That's,
sanitary,
that's
that's in the
good.
comp plan.
Comp
So anyway, but
That's in the
see,
future.
now that's in the future, now they would have to dedicate land for parks. And that would be that trail system.
Right.
That
The walkway,
would be
then it
dedicated
go on up
to-
the wall.
And that would be the future one, not.
Yeah, and then we got they put roads in here.
But we need
Where are they
to
gonna drain that one?
get that first.
Well, they're gonna put like a holding wall or something, put that.
Okay. Guys,
Or to take it all to stick it?
been a fruitful meeting. Did you want to try to, how do you feel about the 134th project?
Force
Yeah,
lays out
number.
option 1 and option 2.
Positive, negative, whatever you think?
Which project? The speed humps?
Well, no, well, first of all, let's do the speed humps first. Positive, negative. I'm gonna go with each.
I'm positive on the speed humps.
Okay. Jennifer, or Jen, I'm sorry.
I'm positive. It does kind of make me disappointed to have to grind into the roads. I think about the work we've spent and the money we spent on that, and it's disappointing in that sense, but I don't really thought.
Bill, you're on, and unfortunately.
Yeah, most of the people on my street want it. I'll get signed signatures, and everybody I talk to wants them. Starting up at, James and Penny, we do, Colin, he moved into Charter's old house. Gage and his wife, they want it. Brown McCarthy, Barry Evans, I didn't talk to the mayor, he's a hard guy to get hold of. But, and then the lady that has kids that walk home from school every day, she wants them. So that's everybody down the street pretty much.
Okay, good.
So Third Street, I don't know about.
Well, that's good. We got that one, that's 100%. The 134th, you wanna proceed, in the very beginning of the 134th project.
So Forrest lays out 2 very clear options in here. Option 1 is we do the full length of 134. We take up the additional tile that runs, as you can see in the map I made, that outlets to the DOT right away. Option 2, it does not. That tile would remain the same.
But see,
Now, that tile has been a problem for us. It's been a problem for utilities and other stuff. So to proceed with Forrest and get this estimate, we need to determine whether we want to go with option 1 on his email and include the entirety of that stretch, or option 2, whereas we maybe work something out with Muellenthaler so that he clears that every year, and we leave the existing as is.
If I remember right, when we talked about this with that gentleman that does it all the time, he said the very first one, it was too flat up there on top to actually drag that one all the way to the bottom. Because you'd have to go too deep to get it going all the way down. It's too flat from there to, say,
Is it the first stub street?
yeah, no, from the first Stub Street to probably the 3rd or 4th house in to the west, that it was too flat to drag all that water from the east end to all the way to the west.
And that's the high spot.
That's a high spot right here. That's why he wants to start it right in here.
In here somewhere.
Leave this one going this way, drag all this stuff that way because the way the ground.
Yeah, we had that said, we never talked about that before.
We're so pipe that was leaking into our road and causing all that.
That's on the east end, that's the one that he had, that
Oh, right
fellow
here.
had
Yeah, that's what.
originally said
Down
he,
and gets down there.
Oh.
So what he was talking about, kind of that we can bury this one all the way to the culvert.
yeah, so I have had discussions with the DOT, that is another step that we would need to take, but we do have, I guess maybe you would call it verbal approval to go into their right of way. I'm sure there's a permitting process that we would need to follow through on eventually, but they're willing to work with us to take that outlet somewhere else, to run it down that ditch, rather than have it outlet right there where we have utility boxes and other things that it's getting into. We have a resident there who constantly has water issues in that ditch that he mows. I know that two residents, I know that that's something that I've talked about with Councilman Andreas before. I don't know how I want to describe this. We know for a fact that the tile on the east end is in a deteriorated condition. That is obvious by the fact that there were tree roots running through it. That will continue to happen. We will continue to have this issue if we do not take up and replace that tile.
It's the orange tile?
No, this one is actually newer. This one's actually newer, so this is, if you go on the map, this is actually the last tile to the east. It's a 8 to 10 inch HDPE that outlets to the DOT right away.
Remember when we cleaned out those sloughs, took all the trees out and cleaned those all up?
Yeah.
When you put that in. Because that was always wet up here, he couldn't ever get dry, so he broke into that tile and pushed it to the ditch to help dry that up there. So it's probably been 15, 20 years since that's been done.
It will flow, so your elevations are completely different there. The tile can align, but there will be a difference in flow. So the west side would likely flow to that drainage ditch by Jonathan Stevens' home, and the other would flow an outlet into DOT right away as it has, and possibly us changing that outlet as to not interfere with utilities. So that decision falls on the council. Option one, we take up everything. Option two, we do the partial and we leave that last one that is newer but still damaged tile alone.
Okay, well, we have option one and we have option two.
Leaving the existing tile alone, two things come to mind right away. One, it's not being maintained the way it should be right now, and it's causing problems. Two, it will never be cheaper to fix it than it is today. Every year that goes by, it will become more expensive to fix. So if we're going to do a project of this size, we might as well do it all at once. Get it done right.
Subject to our budget. You there?
Well, you know.
I'm good.
Barry?
Yeah,
Mark? Okay.
it don't fix itself, you can't.
No, okay,
Put a Band-Aid.
thank you for all of your hard work and decisions. And, I guess we can have a motion to adjourn, but it's not necessarily needed.
You can't, I want to talk to you for a minute.
Okay.